Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. So in this video, I will explain on how to do estimation for the brickwork. Okay, for the brickwork. So as we have learned before, in doing or in calculating the estimation, you need to consider the three main elements, which are the materials, the manpowers, as well as the machineries or equipment. Okay, so we need to address what are the elements that involved in this estimation work. So for brickworks mainly, it will involve these materials. The main materials is the brick. The brick. Okay, as you can see, brick, there are many types of brick. Specifically for this purpose of discussion, we're only focusing on the clay brick. Okay, with the standard measurement of 215 mm, 65 mm, and 112.5 mm for the width. Right? So, as you can see in this figure, or in the pictures, this is how the brickwork or laying brick is being conducted. Right? So, the materials which required is the brick, and also you need to use this mortar in order to fix one unit brick to another unit brick, layer by layer. Okay, so at this particular section, this is known as bed, and at this side of the bricks, it is known as joint. In general, the bricks normally have been laid uh, as a half brick wall and also one brick wall. So this is the illustration on what is meant by half brick wall and what is meant by one brick wall. So as you can see, for one brick wall, it will need this brick in this particular section. And for half brick wall, it only consists of one layer or one row of bricks to be laid in order to form the brick wall. So in our context of discussion, we only focusing on half brick wall. Okay, half brick wall. So as in the industry, there are other types of laying of the brick wall. As you can see, 1.5 brick wall and also double brick wall. Right. So moving to the materials and labor constant, as you can see, okay, in conducting the or in calculating the estimation for the brickworks, okay, for materials constant, okay, given for the output, okay, for the brickworks, okay, the output is brick, so the quantity is 120 bricks per hour, can be laid or fixed by this capacity of labor, 2 skilled labor and 1 unskilled labor. Okay, with these three capacity, or in other words, with these three capacity of workers, okay, 2 skilled labor and 1 unskilled labor, they can fix 120 bricks in 1 hour. Okay, so that is a constant that we will stick with in preparing our estimation. So in the remarks column, as you can see here, skilled workers for brickwork is known as bricklayer. So if let's say the question stated the bricklayer, the terms of bricklayer, it means it is a skilled labor or skilled worker. The size of the brick is 215 times 65 mm. So as I mentioned previously, so the size of the brick is 215 mm, 65. The height of the brick is 65 mm, right? So the size. The bed thickness is 10 mm. bed as well as the joint. Okay, the joint. Okay, at the side of the brick is joint. At the bottom of the brick, when we want to fix, you need to pour the call it the mortar. Okay, so it's known as bed. So the thickness is 10 mm. Okay, so for mortar required, so okay, I want you to do some correction. So change 0.3 to 0.03. Okay, cubic meter per meter square of brick. Right? So the requirement for mortar for every 1 meter square of brick wall is 0.03. If you can't imagine how it looks like, it's like this. Right? So if let's say you have 1 meter square of wall, 1 meter, 1 meter height. Okay, so the requirement of mortar for this particular area of brick wall is 0.03 cubic meter. So you need to take this as your consideration. And for wastage, for the material wastage, which is the brick, okay, you need to allow 5% for wastage. Alright. Okay, moving to the next one, the example of brickworks. As you can see in this question, compute the cost of brick wall for 1 meter square of half brick wall. Mortar mix is 1 to 3. Okay. So the what we call it, the cement to the ratio of cement to sand, 1 to 3. Okay. So based on the data below, okay, it's given the price for the element or the equipment or the materials and also the workers. Okay, the cost of mixing 1 cubic meter mortar by mixer. Okay, the model of the mixer is 10/7 is RM 8 ringgit. So basically given the mixing cost in this question, but if you can see in the solution it's given. Okay, it shows how to get 8 ringgit for the mixing cost. We will look into it, right? So I just want to remind, if let's say given, okay, the cost of mixing in the question, strictly given the value or the cost, you need to use straight away the given value. If let's say not given, then we need to calculate or to estimate the cost. Alright, by using the given pricing. Okay, so let's look the solution. So if, as I mentioned earlier, for the uh, equipment cost, which consists of the owning and also the operating costs, okay, if let's say the mixing cost of the concrete or the mortar is not given, so you need to calculate the equipment cost in order to get the price per cubic meter. So if let's say given in the question, once again, given in the question, okay, you straight away use the value. So like I emphasized earlier, the solution shows you how to get RM 8 ringgit per cubic meter. Okay, so let's look how the calculation is done. Okay, for owning costs, once again, you need to know what item need to be listed under this owning cost. First thing first, cost of mixer. So given the cost is 12,000 ringgit. Interest over 5 years. Okay, given the interest rate 12% per annum. Okay, the lifespan for the mixer is 5 years. Okay, and yet this one initial cost of the concrete mixer is 12,000. So we calculate interest over 5 years is 12% out of initial cost of the mixer 12,000, and the lifespan of the mixer is 5 years. So you get 7,200. So cost of repair and maintenance. So the constant is gathered from the table of constant. You need to refer to the section concrete. Okay. Okay. And also cost of transportation to site 1/20. This is stated in the table of constant as well. So you need to refer. So you multiply with the initial cost of the mixer and you will get the value. So you total up all this item, you will get 21,000. However, in this question stated the resale value. The resale value is depending on the question. If let's say in the question stated the resale value or the salvage value, you need to take into consideration that item. If let's say not mentioned, so you don't have to um, consider the salvage or the resale value. So back to the question, in this case, stated the resale value 2,000. So you need to consider by deduct this resale value from the total cost that you get the owning cost of 5 years is 19,000. Okay, so you need to convert the owning cost of the mixer per day. So 19,000 over 5 years. So consider from the table, working hours for the machine is 200 days per year. So calculate, then we get 19 ringgit per day. If you want to convert day to hour, so you need to divide 19 ringgit per day. So we know that one standard working hours in a day is 8 hours. So you will get this per hour. Okay? So it's either you convert per day or per hour. Yet make sure the unit is same. You need to see that if let's say on cost you convert from per day. So if you want to total up with the operation cost, so you need to make sure that this operation cost also convert into day. Okay. So if let's say you want to convert the on cost for the mixer per hour, so make sure when you calculated the operating cost, you need to convert the cost operating per hour as well. Right. So operating cost it involves the labor. So here the question stated that it, to operate, okay. Right. So for operating cost, in order to operate the mixer, okay, it's required one skilled labor and four unskilled labor. So where you get this constant, so you need to refer to the concrete table of constant. So here stated, okay, for concrete, by using concrete mixer, so the constant, this is the constant that you need to consider. Okay. So 1 skilled labor and 4 unskilled labor. So that's why you put in this estimation. Okay, so 1 skilled labor and 4 unskilled labor. So given the price or the salary of skilled labor is 50 ringgit per day and unskilled labor is 20 ringgit per day. So you multiply, you will get this cost 50 ringgit and 80 ringgit. Alright, so where we get this constant 10 liters per diesel and 1 over 5 liters. So in order to operate the mixer, once again, we need to refer to this constant. Okay, so for the diesel is required 10 liters per day, and for lubricating oil is required 1 over 5 liters per day. It's equivalent to 0.2 liters per day. Okay, so right here, given the price of the diesel is RM1 ringgit and the price for the lubricating oil is RM5 ringgit per liter. So you can check this from the pricing given. Okay, right. So if you total up the cost, that you get 141 ringgit, okay, per day. So make sure when you want to calculate the mixing cost, okay, you say that mixing cost is equivalent to owning cost plus the operating cost. So this unit is of the day, this is the unit is of the day, so 19 ringgit plus with 141 ringgit, so you will get 160 ringgit per day for the mixing cost. Okay, so from here we want to convert or we want to know the price of mixing for 1 cubic meter. What is the cost of mixing per cubic meter? So here the output will play the its role. So we know that in 1 hour, okay, the mixer can produce 2.5 cubic meter. So in 1 hour. Okay, so in 1 hour it can produce 2.5 cubic meter per hour. So the cost is per day. Okay, mix the mixing cost is per day, 160 ringgit per day. So what you can do, okay, you need to know the output of mortar to be produced in 1 day. So that's why you multiply with 8 hours. Okay, per day. 8 hours is standard working hours in 1 day. So you multiply, you will get 20 cubic meter production or output in a day. Okay, right. So here you can calculate the mixing cost per cubic meter. We know that the mixing cost is 160 ringgit per day. Then you multiply with or you divide it by 20. You divide it by 20 cubic meter per day. Okay, so you get the value is RM 8 ringgit per cubic meter. So this is the mixing cost of the mortar for each cubic meter, right? So same with what is given in the graphic. Mixing cost RM 8 ringgit, right? So Moving to the estimation for the material cost. So in this case, brickwork, we know that it will the materials involved is brick and also mortar, right? So the ratio of mortar given is 1:3. So you need to know one is representing the cement and 3 is representing the portion of the sand. Is yes in. So there is no aggregate in mortar mixer or mixing. No mortar mix. Alright? So referring to this concrete table and of table constant. Okay. So you can see that here for cement mortar, the shrinkage allowed is 33 1/3%. So you need to consider this as well. Alright, so same with the calculation of the concrete. So you know that you need to calculate the cost per cubic meter of materials when you mix all the ingredients. Okay, so one portion of cement, 3 portion of sand. So you total up, you will get 4 portion of material. Okay, you say that your cubic meter lah. Okay, so the price is this. Okay, 1 cubic meter of cement is equivalent. So we know that 1 cubic meter is equivalent to 28 bags. So where we know this, so we go back to this constant. Okay, so given here 28 bags per cubic meter for cement. So when you say that 1 cubic meter is equivalent to 28 bags. Alright, so 38 bags times the price per bag, 9 ringgit, you get 152 ringgit. So price for sand given M6 per cubic meter. So here required 3 cubic meters, we will get 18 ringgit. So the price for 4 cubic meter arithmetically total up 1 plus 3 is 4. So 152 ringgit plus 18 ringgit, you get 270 ringgit. So with the consideration of the shrinkage, so you need to take this constant as stated in the remark column. Okay, so you take 33 1/3% extra for shrinkage. So to multiply 53 1/3% out of the price at M 170 ringgit. So you will get 90 ringgit. Okay. Thus for 4 cubic meter of mortar after you consider the shrinkage, okay, you will get this 360 ringgit. So you total up 150 plus 90 ringgit. So this is the price for the 4 cubic meter of material, right? So in order for you to calculate price per cubic meter of the materials of the or the mortar, so you divide by 4. 360 ringgit divided by 4 cubic meter. So you will get price of a cubic meter is 1090 ringgit. Okay? So thus the cost of 1 cubic meter mortar mix is by mixer. Okay, so you know in this case the mortar is been made by using machine. So mixing cost is RM8 ringgit per cubic meter, and the mortar, the materials which you need to put into the mixer is RM90 ringgit per cubic meter. So total cost of mortar mixed by mixer is 98 ringgit per cubic meter. Alright, so that's it. You get the price for the mortar. Right? So moving to the brick, the second materials which is brick. Okay, So you need to know the size of brake that you use. Okay, so mainly stated in the table, the standard size of the brake is 115 and 65 mm. Okay, 115, 65. Okay, mm. Millimeter. Right. So you need to consider the bed and joint. So as I mentioned earlier, so the bed is the motor that you need to place under the, we call it the brake, in order for you to fix with another level of, or another layer of a brake. Okay. So on the side, at the side, this is known as joint. Okay. So joint. So fix with another unit of brake. Okay. So you need to consider the bed and joint thickness. Okay. So that's why we need to um, to we call it to total up, okay, the size including the joint and also the bed. That's why the size of the brake, the consideration of the bed and joint is 2 to 5 mm and 75 mm. Okay, so now we know the size of the brake, okay, including the thickness of the bed and joint. Next, you need to calculate the numbers of bricks. So, if let's say given 1 meter square of brick wall, okay, and by knowing the size of the small brick, okay, so we can calculate the total numbers of bricks which required to use in order to build up this area of brick wall. So, how to calculate? You will calculate, convert the unit, either vice versa. You need to convert either mm, you convert to meter, or the meter you convert to mm. So in the calculation, convert the size of wall. Okay, 1 meter times 1 meter, convert to millimeter, which is 1000 millimeter times 1000 millimeter of brick wall, and the size of the brick is 225 mm times 75 mm. So you get numbers of brick required for this particular area is 60 bricks. Okay, 60 bricks. Right. So considering the wastage as mentioned in the question, allow or mentioning in the we call it the table of constant is stated either, uh, if not stated in the what we call it in the question, you need to consider the wastage in your calculation or in your estimation, because stated in the remark column for the brickworks, you need to allow 5% for wastage. Okay, so you need to take this into consideration. So allow 5% wastage. Okay, so in this question, 5% is calculated from the total numbers, total price for 60 numbers of bricks. Okay, so 60 numbers of brick, one piece of brick is 40 cents, so the total price for 60 bricks is 24 ringgit. So 5% wastage is from the total price. If let's say you want to calculate 5% from 60 bricks, also can. You need to see that once you get the numbers of wastage rate, the numbers of wastage, you multiply with you total up with this numbers of break, initial numbers of break. Okay, you will get the numbers of break including the wastage. Multiply with the price. Okay, it will get the same. Okay, right? So the required, okay, how much we call water is required in order to fix the 60 bricks, okay, or we call it 1 meter square of brick wall. Okay. So knowing the constant is 0.03 cubic meter every 1 meter square as stated in this remote column. Okay, so we calculate 0.03 cubic meter of mortar, okay, per square meter of brick wall. So we get, okay, the price of the mortar is 98 ringgit per cubic meter. So we get the price of the mortar is 2 ringgit and 94 cents. So total cost of material inclusive the bricks and also the mortar required for that particular area, it is 28 ringgit and 40 cents. So you total up all this value. Okay, all this price that you get this price. Okay, right. So next, moving to the brick laying work, which involve the labor cost. Okay, so how many person is required to fix this brick to form a brick wall, right? So by referring to the constant, yeah, it's required 2 skilled labor and 1 unskilled labor, right? So by this capacity of 3%, they can fix 120 bricks in 1 hour. So, but in this case, to construct 1 meter square of brick wall, okay, the area of the brick wall is 1 meter square, and only required 60 bricks. So now we look how to calculate the price of labor cost. Okay, right. So this statement represents what I explained just now. A team of 2 bricklayer, 2 skilled labor, and 1 unskilled labor can lay 120 bricks in 1 hour. Right? So calculate. Okay, 2 hours of bricklayer time. Okay, so we need to say this represents two bricklayer. Okay, 1 bricklayer, 1 hour. So they simplify 2 hours of bricklayer time. 2 times 50 ringgit over 8 hours. We convert the salary of an hour. We get 12 ringgit and 50 cents. 1 hour for unskilled labor. So 1 hour, one unskilled labor required 1 hour to fix 120 bricks here. So 1 hour the duration, okay, 20 ringgit over 8 hours convert into hour, we get 2 ringgit and 50 cents. Thus total labor cost for laying 120 bricks we get 15 ringgit. Okay, this is for 120 bricks. But in this case, the numbers of bricks need to be laid is 60 bricks. So by knowing that, you multiply, okay, you divide 60 bricks with 120 bricks, or else like this. 15 ringgit is price to fix 120 bricks. But in this case, 60 bricks is required. So the cost is this one, 7 ringgit and 50 cents. Okay. Therefore, the cost of constructing the estimation cost for constructing the 1 meter square of half brick wall. Okay, you total up the material cost and also the labor cost. We get the price. This is the material cost. This is the labor cost. We get 35 ringgit and 64 cents. Right? So So you need to include profit. Okay, when you estimate, you need to gain profit. So that is the initial, the raw cost, the rough cost for that particular work. But at the end of the day, you need to consider profit in your calculation. As a businessman, you need to consider that so that you get the what we call it, the profit. Okay, so if not stated in your question, you can assume. But if stated, you need to use the percentage of profit that given. So here profit is 15%. So you need to multiply to get the cost of 1 meter of half brick wall with the profit 15%. We get RM 40 ringgit 90 answer. Right? So basically in the calculation, okay, you need to consider, you need to address which is the area or aspect which need to be emphasized, look into. Okay, for example, this is straight away, okay, labor cost. Okay. So you need to calculate the basis is the constant student to skill labor, one unskilled labor. This one team consists of 3 persons. Okay, can fix this 120 bricks in 1 hour. So if you, let's say you know how many bricks that need to be fixed for that particular work, so you just multiply with the analysis over 60, over 120 numbers, right, of bricks. Alright, so for the bricks here, don't forget to take into consideration the wastage. If not mentioned in the question, you need to consider. Constated in the what we call it in the table of constant, you need to allow 5%. Same goes to the shrinkage. So it is not stated in the question straight away. Okay, so but you need to know the properties of the materials when you pour with water, it will shrink. Okay, the numbers, the amount of material will reduce due to the shrinkage. Okay, so that's why you need to consider extra in order to gain that particular exact value of material. So that's why you need to allow the shrinkage. So the value of the shrinkage, the constant of the shrinkage is stated in the table. So once again, for the cement, it's not the price basically stated in bags, unit bags. But you have to know 1 kilometer of cement is equivalent to 28 bags, right? So that is constant stated in the question, right? So if you have any question, you can ask me later. So same goes to the owning cost. I just want to emphasize, if in the question stated resale value, consider. If not stated, do not uh, do not um, predict or assume any value to be as a resale value. Okay, so but in reality it's different. But for the purpose of the examination, you need to stick with the information stated in the question, right? Okay. Okay, so I think that's all for brickwork. Okay, so you can proceed with answering this exercises. There are 2 questions in this slide, so please answer both questions. If let's say you have any question related to this topic, so you can ask me later. So with that, I thank you.